Hello, and welcome to this week's Mucky Duck Punch podcast with me, your host, and then there's Keith. Say hello, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
So we're gearing it down this week. Then we're gonna go. Oh fuck! The West. Oh no, I actually realised something. Given our first story, that behaviour is really inappropriate.
Yeah, that's probably possibly right. I'm loving the red background this week. I'm loving the red background. Is this like is this your sort of like sex dungeon mode?
Sex dungeon? I live in the UK. We don't have basements. We can't have sex dungeons. We have sex conservatories over here. Because we have no basements and no dungeons, I'm afraid.
Sex conservatory.
Yeah, it's like when you feel right. So a good example is when you feel ill, you go, "I feel like I'm at death's door." Yeah. Do you know what expression I use? Death's patio. I feel like I'm sitting on death's patio.
In your gazebo.
In your gazebo. Yeah. Maybe
that was a random start.
That was a completely random start.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. How
Welcome
are
to the Middle England podcast.
Middle England. Well, it's better Middle Earth, I suppose. Current occupants.
Oh, dear God.
There's so much irony behind what they're doing with Rings of Power and how Tolkien, is not a happy bunny when it comes to modern England at the time, with all the factories and bits and all that industrialisation and the destruction of forests. And then Lord of the Rings moves from New Zealand to the UK, and they destroy a small forest. Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got some news this week, haven't we?
We have got some news this week. We've not got good news to start with. So I'll press the button. I've got to find something that's not so bloody funny. No, that's funny. Fuck that.
You're listening to the Monkey Nut.
Today we're talking, taking a moment to honour a true legend in the entertainment world, James Earl Jones, who's passed away at the ripe old age of 93. Best known for his iconic role as Darth Vader in Star Wars and Thuzela Doom in Conan the Barbarian, James Earl Jones leaves a legacy behind that spans decades. His deep, commanding voices are forever imprinted in our minds, on minds of generations, from his early roles in Shakespeare to voicing Mufasa in The Lion King. His career is a true testament to the power and resilience of talent and dedication. So, 93. Well done.
Pretty good innings.
Dude, if I get past 60, it's a bonus.
I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, there's some funny stories about him. I grew up on Star Wars as a kid, but I never knew he was the voice of Darth Vader until I was a lot older. And the reason I didn't, it's like one of my mum's favourite films when I was a kid, and I remember watching it quite a lot because she liked the film, was Hunt for the Red October, right? And James Earl Jones played Greer. Right? And that's how I knew him. It was Greer, right? And growing up as a kid, I think it was about 11 or 12 when I realised that the guy that's playing Admiral Greer, right, is the voice of Darth Vader. So that's not how I first came to him. In fact, again, I think I saw him in Eddie Murphy's Coming to America as the King, and Eddie's dad, before I knew he was the voice of Darth Vader. And I loved him in. I mean, he was brilliant in Hunt for the Red October. I mean, just a great role. And I mean, just what a legend. And I mean, I'll always remember his cameo on. I know you didn't like it, but what's its face? What was the thing with Sheldon?
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. But he was great on Big Bang Theory. I mean, his cameo on it was brilliant, and then winding up Carrie Fisher on it. That was a great cameo. I mean, I know not everyone's a Big Bang Theory, but I liked his cameo on there. But 93, I mean, it's a pretty good age, and he was working pretty much up until that point. I mean, it was only a year or two that he hasn't been. I mean, he was, I mean, unfortunately, the last time he appeared as the voice of Vader, I think, was Obi-Wan. And then it was like said, he's retiring from the voice of Vader, but he's worked on modern Star Wars.
So in his career, he did a film called By Dawn's Early Light, and By Dawn's Early Light was a nuclear disaster film. A nuclear bomb had gone off by accident, and Russia was going to attack the United States. But for political reasons, the US and the Russians were using bombers. And he was in charge of an AWACS that was relaying commands to the bombers and so forth and so on. And he noticed that one of the bombers turned away. Now, the truth behind the thing is the Russian plane had a fault, but it turned away. So they turned one of theirs away, which means they're looking at it going, they don't want to go to war. The problem is that the dumb vice president, God, it sounds a bit like fucking real life. The dumb vice president was insisting that they did a thing called the Grand Tour. And that's not, doesn't involve Jeremy Clarkson. And the Grand Tour was literally nuclear carpet bombing anything to do with Russia. Yeah, and it was just the worst thing ever. Yeah, because they weren't using the ballistics because they you got 8 minutes, yeah, to deal with it, and that's not going to happen. But the bombers gave the political guys a thing, and he was in charge of the AWACS that crashed into the president or the vice president's plane, stopping the nuclear war. And I just remember towards the end of it, the character had given up smoking and was desperate for a cigarette because it was like, fuck it, if I'm going to die, I want a fucking fag, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he did that, and that's the one film I remember him from, because I remember someone gave him a cigarette, because what's this pansy ass cigarette, and then someone hands him like a really strong cigarette towards the end, and it's just like really kind of, that was the one thing. It's weird because it's symbolic of that's the one thing that he needed just to complete his day. So yeah, it's and there's other films and bits that he's been into, but that's the one that stuck out for me. And then I imagine people who aren't Star Wars fans are probably Lion King fans.
Yeah.
And he did the voice of Simba's dad. I can't remember his name. Mufasa. That was it.
I will always remember him. My first encounter with him as Greer. But I mean, again, I think he's one of the only Americans, and I mean no offense to this, that has obtained sort of legendary bad guy thing, because usually they're English guys. I mean, you know, Hans Gruber, although he was German in the film, English. The other bad guy in Star Wars, English. The Emperor, English. It's always the English guys that play the really good bad guys, but here, arguably, Vader is probably the most iconic. You know, if not near enough up there with it. I would argue he's probably more iconic than a lot of them, but and just what a legend. And what an actor. And I mean, he's done a lot more than just, you know, Star Wars, but I mean, by all accounts, he was a nice guy as well. And I know when he used to go to sort of Star Wars conventions and stuff, he was genuinely like how he appeared in The Big Bang Theory. I just love it, that opening scene with Sheldon. It's like, you know, he looks really stern at Sheldon. It's like, let me guess, you're a Star Wars fan. You know, I've been in other movies, but you don't care about that. And it's all really stern. And he goes, guess what? and then his face completely changed. I like Star Wars too, and it's brilliant. And you know that was the real James Earl Jones, that he had that sort of funny streak in him, and apparently that's what he was like. I mean, you know, he could come across as stern, but really he was a gentle guy that liked a bit of a laugh. And yeah, I will always, just a legend. Just a legend, and you know, will go down in history as one of the greatest bad guys of all time, but also just a legendary actor. And yeah, Mufasa as well. So not just bad guys, good guys too. But Hunt for the Red October, I will always remember him from, because that's the film I remember. Beverly Crusher's in that film. Yeah,
is she?
Gates McFadden plays Jack Ryan's wife very briefly.
I know that Peter Firth from Spooks was in it. He was the commissar that gets killed right at the beginning by
political officer. Yeah.
Yeah.
By none other than the legendary Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Sam McNeill is in it. I mean, that film has got a lot of fucking famous people in it.
Oh no, that film is good. The other one, what's it? And I think that's probably where Under Siege got the idea of the cook being the person causing the havoc on the boat. But it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I love there's some bits in that film that are just absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite bits is not, what do you call it? It's not like hugely exciting, but it is tense, yeah? Where you've got the navigator and he says, I can navigate the Alps in a plane with no windows, given a stopwatch and a speedo. Yeah, and they're going through whatever it is, some trench to do it, and he's just timing it perfectly, because you know submarines can't see jack shit unless they use their sonar. If they use their sonar, they become visible, and that's the whole point of the submarines, to be invisible.
Oh, it's a great film. I mean, Tim Curry's in it as well. I forgot Tim Curry's in the bloody Hunt for the
Oh God, yeah.
The Doctor.
Yes.
Fuck me, that film's got so many bloody actors in it.
It has got Alec Baldwin.
It's Alec Baldwin. But Alec Baldwin was was really good Jack Ryan. I mean, don't get me wrong, I quite enjoyed Harrison Ford as Ryan, but Alec Baldwin was quite good in that part. And I mean, I love Red October. I mean, it's still one of my favourite films from the sort of 80s. It is an 80s film. But fucking great film. And yeah, Harry's in it. Harry's the political officer. You're right.
Yeah. It's not in it. It's like blink and you miss it.
I mean, and you know, James Earl Jones, when he turns up and he presses the button to detonate the thing, flips open his thing. I was never here, kind of. I remember that line. I mean, just all of it. Fucking great film. Yeah, Red October, really good film. You should watch it. I've never seen it. Watch it.
We might have to put down a list of political spy thrillers next after our Nolan run.
I had an idea for our next one as well, so we might have to discuss it. We might have enough material for the next year, because I had an idea as well, which I think you're going to like, but we'll have to discuss it off. I won't reveal now, but I had an idea.
Okay.
So no, we should do both. Right, yeah, anyway. R.I.P. Mr. James Earl Jones. You were a legend, sir.
Thank you very much, and let's go to our next video. That one. Oh, I'm trying to not be funny. I'm trying not to pick a funny one. Do you know what? This one probably sums it up, because I can't find a funny one.
I didn't hear
Great
it.
audio. You didn't hear it? That's
Yeah,
fine.
Which one was it?
That was Jason Statham. Right, in a surprising turn of events, Disney's facing legal trouble over the use of its likeness of the late Peter Cushing in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. A UK judge has denied Disney's attempt to dismiss the lawsuit filed by Kevin Francis, a longtime friend of Cushing's. The lawsuit claims that Disney violated an agreement stating that Cushing's likeness could not be used without authorization. With this case now headed to trial, it raises questions about the ethics of digital likeness for deceased actors. Now, the first time this happened was Oliver Reed in Gladiator, if I remember correctly. Well, for us in this part of the world, it was for Oliver Reed. But Oliver Reed was paid to appear in that film. sounds awful thing to say. Oliver Reed was
I know
paid
he
to.
started the film. It was a bit like Paul Walker in
Yeah.
in those films that he had started in that film and had started filming the film when he tragically died. I don't know how I feel about this.
Right.
Right.
No,
Go on.
from mine, it's very simple. Yeah. If you want to put him in there, you have to pay for the right to put him in there. Yeah. You don't own Peter Cushing. Yeah. You do not own Peter Cushing. You can make people that look like him, but you do not own Peter Cushing. If you're trying to sell something off as Peter Cushing, yeah, not right. You didn't have to have Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. You could have had another person, and Moff Tarkin could have replaced them.
Arguably,
So
in this particular case, but the thing is, he's playing a character in a movie, and he's paid to play that character. If that character
in that
returns,
that one movie. Yeah, that one movie that was filmed in 76, 77, yeah? These things didn't exist back then. I can say with 100% certainty. No,
I mean,
not
arguably they
permission.
should have paid the estate if the estate exists. But I can't help thinking this is somebody trying to make a quick buck. I mean, the guy's dead.
No, I think it's someone trying to make a point. Because do you know how much money was made from that?
What, Rogue One?
No, from the case.
No.
£28,000. If it was millions, you might say it was for the money. But imagine that your friend, because this gentleman was good friends with Peter Cushing. I don't know if it was good friends, if that makes any sense. Yeah, with Peter Cushing. It's, what do you call it? No, it's not on. Yeah, my likeness belongs to me. You don't have permission to use my likeness. If all of a sudden you saw your face on a load of advertising posters for, I don't know, curried noodles, yeah? So some Korean company has taken your face, like Homer Simpson, in that episode where he finds out he's like some weird Japanese mascot thing, and they've taken your likeness to sell something without your permission. How do you feel?
It's different.
Just you. No. It's exactly the same.
No, it's not when you're
It
an
is
actor.
exactly
When
the
you're an
same.
actor, if you are playing a character, if that character has a picture in the next movie or is
No,
pictured
hang
in
on.
the
No.
movie,
Peter Cushing did not sign that contract. He was not there for that movie. They used
he
his
played
likeness without
a
his permission.
character and the character was in it. Had Disney taken his face and put it on some noodles, right? That's a very different thing because they use
No,
his
it's
likeness,
exactly
not
the same. You're using him to sell a film.
I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about this because
No,
actors are
you
playing
shouldn't.
characters. They
Yeah, they're
kind
playing a
of
character.
somewhat give up the rights
example,
to their likeness
Keith,
in certain terms.
Example: Back to the Future 2. Yeah, Crispin Glover did not want to be in Back to the Future 2. They put an actor in makeup and tried to hide their face as much as possible. And because they did use his likeness rather than just recast the actor, they got in trouble for that. Yeah. So there is a precedent.
I'm aware of it, but I'm just not sure it's right. I don't know how I feel about this.
No, it's a giant corporation. Pay the fucking fee. If it was Bob who runs the kebab shop using posters, yeah, just for the kebab, it could be overlooked. A giant corporation with a massive legal department that will go after anyone. So, for example, there was a kid that died of cancer. They put Spider-Man on his gravestone. Disney sued them.
I mean, you see, Biff has just made a comment here, and I think he's kind of articulating better what I'm trying to say. I think when you play a character in a movie, so say Robert Downey Jr. plays Iron Man. Right?
Hold on.
And then Iron Man
wait,
is
wait.
not in Spider-Man 3, but there's a picture of him. It's the character, not the actor.
And they still have to go. They still have to go through the legal bits for that too. Every poster, everything seen on there has to be signed off.
Playing a part, and therefore this is when I mean they give up their likeness in certain respects.
No, they don't. He never signed away his likeness.
I'm not saying that legally that this is thing.
If they had just cast another actor and they didn't try to recreate his face, not an issue. Not an issue.
But that's not how.
That's and hang on, Keith. Yeah. That's the character, not the actor. They took the actor. Wrong.
Did they? They didn't take the actor.
Yes.
They took his likeness. but
Yeah,
his likeness
that's the whole
is the
point.
character. You see, I don't particularly
No,
like
his likeness is not the
recasting.
character. The character is the bits written on the page. You can't win this. You've lost it already. I've already given you one example. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to win it. This is how I feel. I don't. I personally think that once you cast somebody in the role, their
There.
likeness is the character, and therefore they slightly
And
give it
hold
up.
on,
I think
Keith.
that's part of being an actor in a movie. But
No, hold on,
look,
Keith.
yeah,
But. Yeah. If you go into another movie, you get paid to go into that other movie. Yeah.
but you're playing a
With the
different
toys.
Ryan.
No. You're playing the same character, and you're the actor. You get paid for that movie. Full stop. Yes. But you don't get paid. Invited to come back to play the character and not get paid.
In terms of contract, that his estate arguably should have been paid the royalties for using his likeness. And in most modern contracts, I believe certainly when you're signing up to play a character that could possibly appear in more movies, you do give up certain rights to your likeness. That is true.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no, you do.
No, you don't.
In a lot of modern
As an actor,
contracts now.
all right, hang on a second. Yeah, and lots of actors refuse to sign them.
But you then get royalties for that. Yes, but lots of actors then don't appear in those roles. Now, in this certain case, in 1970, Peter Cushing probably did not have that type of contract, so therefore he should his legally they should have received royalties.
Yeah. But Disney has a giant legal department. They should know this. They like suing people for misusing their stuff.
Disney's in the
It's
wrong
only fair.
here. If they didn't pay him royalties, they should at least pay royalties.
And Disney have had issues with paying royalties for the last decade.
Oh yeah, true.
There are a lot of writers for Disney-owned properties where they should be getting royalties and they're not getting those royalties.
I don't understand. I don't know how royalties work once that person's deceased. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but his likeness belongs to his estate, and it's been given to his estate. That's why they refer to it as an estate, and he has it as a legal entity for situations like this. It's not. It's wrong. Full stop.
It really is.
It's just wrong.
6 years to.
It's
7 years.
But here comes the funny thing. Yeah, this is because UK law isn't built on precedent rather than the Constitution. This now becomes, this country will be the go-to place to sue for likeness, especially with all the companies and bits filming over here, because there's a president, it's very clear, until the US gets a president or French get a president or whatever, and it gets enshrined into law there.
I think it's more, I don't like this because it's taking us away from the character. And I think, I know what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not trying to win it. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying this is how I feel. I do think that when you take on certain characters, the whole idea is you're playing make-believe. That involves your appearance to a certain extent. I think appearance is part of the character. But it bothers me because I don't know if it's my autism when they recast.
Yeah, I know you want to sit there and you want to maintain a sense of continuity, but part of me also wants to maintain a sense of I get paid for my labour. If you're using my face, you get paid for that. That's it.
I agree with you. I agree with you mostly. It's just that I can't get that fucking Rachel Zegler fucking interview out of my head where she bangs on about being in a dress and getting paid for it. Privileged cow. I don't know. Because I'm not a big fan of a lot of Hollywood actors, so it's kind of like it's a difficult one. But in this particular case, alone, if Disney didn't pay any royalties to his estate and just used his likeness, that is wrong. And fuck you, Disney, because fuck you, Disney.
All right, you've been a good boy, I suppose, because you've been a good boy. You haven't been that good a boy.
What was it playing? It's not showing me any of the videos today.
I think there's a problem with your browser, but for people watching, everything's fine.
Sydney
It's
Sweeney?
the Sydney
Oh.
Sweeney, yeah. In the second season of Rings of Power, showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have stirred up debate by taking creative directions that fans find unexpected. They have chosen to humanize the orcs, depicting them not as mindless evil creatures, but as complex beings with dreams, desires. Payne and McKay argue that the portrait aligns with J.R. Tolkien's work. No, it doesn't. J.R. Tolkien's work and enhances the storytelling, making the orcs more dimensional and, in turn, more terrifying.
What this should say is, J.D. Payne and Patrick Twat showed their ignorance of Tolkien yet again. Orcs are evil. 100%.
That's the point of them, yeah. Yeah.
Very easy. Very simple. We don't need to humanize orcs. They're evil. Orcs and cucumber, both evil. They're the same.
Cucumbers aren't evil.
Cucumbers are the spawn of
You
Satan.
salad
Cucumbers are the spawn of Satan.
dodger.
No.
You total salad dodger.
I like lettuce. I like everything else. Cucumbers are the spawn of Satan. That's why old Daryl took them and used them as influence for snozcumbers, which are even more evil.
Right. So I'm not as Tolkien literate as yourself, but I always thought that the orcs were like grown like mushrooms underground, because that's what I saw in Lord of the Rings when they were digging up the
That was the Uruk-hai, and the Uruk-hai were a combination of orc and various other things. So they were grown underground.
Bred for war.
But yes, orcs kind of come from. But yeah, there's no such thing as orc babies and all this bullshit. And
No.
I mean, it perplexes me because this is made by a private company. It's not made by. It's going to get a third season, even though no one's watching it. It's going to carry on. It's funny, you know, if we're still doing this in 20 years' time, I wonder what history is going to look at, you know, like this. The amounts of fucking money.
It will go like this. It's really simple. Do you remember Rings of Power? No, nor do I. There you go. I've written the page of history for it.
I mean, it is terrible. You've got elves that don't. You've got the guy who's playing one of the forgers with short hair and doesn't look like an elf. He doesn't give that elven look. There's no elven feeling there. Most of the elves don't feel like elves. The Sauron guy, I mean, just seriously, you know, there's a scene between them, and it was like, do you guys just want to get a room together? I mean, you know, the tension, it's dreadful, and like all the elves suddenly rolling their R's everywhere, and it's just ridiculous. It is. It's
crap.
bad. I mean, it's not. It's bad. I mean, crap is almost. Crap can be good. Some crap movies can be really good.
Oh, dude, I used to
bad.
go out my way to watch really shit B movies on BBC Two. They were fucking brilliant. What's it? Spiders from Mars. Yeah, it was one. If you've never heard of it, it's fucking terrible. It's ironic because I did watch some B movies, and one of them I remember watching is one called Fiend Without a Face, and it stars Leonard Nimoy right at the beginning. And this is really old, yeah. So it's got Leonard Nimoy right at the beginning, and it gets to the end, yeah. And they're all stuck in the house, and they're getting attacked by these creatures that are invisible, and then they become visible, and it goes really gory, yeah. Because the animators and the special effects people went overboard, and it was the first time I've seen gore used like that in like a regular kind of picture, if that makes any sense, from that time. The only other time I can recall that is Quatermass, one of the Quatermass ones where they stuff a load of people into a pipe to stop oxygen being poured in. But going back,
it's just bad writing. It's bad writing. It's a lack of understanding, and it's typical Hollywood taking things and doing it. And it just stinks of that idiot that runs Amazon, puts a hat, a cowboy hat on and calls himself an astronaut. You're not a fucking astronaut. The guy that went up to the this week in Polaris Dawn, that's an astronaut, right? You are not an astronaut.
Or a space cadet.
Yeah. You're some guy that started hawking books on the internet at exactly the right time and got lucky. That's what you are. And it just, I'm going to use the word, and I apologize for Americans not understanding it. It's a bit chavvy. It's like a bunch of chavs have written, and I mean, and
do you know what?
Sound really classist, but I don't mean it to. But it does feel like that. That's what it feels like. It feels like they've taken Tolkien without really understanding it and just writing something. And it's
do you know what it feels like? It feels a bit Rick and Morty. So in like the second season of Rick and Morty, they're having that gunfight with the Galactic Police, and they're all insects, yeah. And Rick's killing loads of them, and then Morty kills one of them. And he turns and goes, "Oh my god, I've killed someone." He goes, "Don't worry, they don't have families, this, that, and the other." And then it cuts to the family. It's like, "Oh, I wonder when Dad's coming home." And it's almost like a fucking joke.
But that was stolen from an Austin Powers joke. I mean, Austin Powers was the original, with the henchman's families kind of thing. I'm a big Austin Powers fan. I remember those movies.
Orange, but the best one is the one with the big steamroller thing, and the guy's like 10 foot away from it. He goes, "Move, move," and it does it, and it's painfully slow.
It's a money. Every time I have guacamole, it's money. I love the Austin Powers film. But I mean, I'm watching this show, and look, right. There are a few things I will say about it, right? Unlike The Acolyte, you can see where the money's going in terms of effects. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's a bit like Discovery. You can say a lot about Discovery, and I've got a lot I can say. The show looks good, right? And this does look good, but it's just badly acted, badly written, and it's badly produced, and it's badly directed. But again, they happen to be using really good special effects artists who are doing a fantastic job. It is a shame that these people get to work on these shows and don't get the credit. Because again, you can say what you like about Discovery, and Discovery deserves everything it gets, but it was a damn good looking show. In fact, all of the Star Trek shows have been damn good looking. It's just a bad written, and this is the problem. Special effects stars these days are getting a lot of shit because of all the Marvel movies being crap and everything else. When they do really good work, it's not noticed because the shows are really shit. And it's a shame because Numenor looks gorgeous in the show, and it does. Dune's
fantastic. Out of all the special effects I've seen, Dune's the ones where all the special effects looks borderline real. Yeah, it really is. They're the best ones. Do you know why that's like that? Because they don't change their mind at the last fucking minute, and they give the guys plenty of time to actually do the work, and that's why it looks like that. And it's like they give them lots of storyboards and instructions and this, that, and the other, because Denis Villeneuve knows that if he fucks the special effects, that's like kind of millions gone just through poor management. And look at the Marvel films, as you said, they cost 200 and whatever it is million, but a show's not built on the special effects, it's built on the characters and the story.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah? So you've got to have the character. And the downside is they seem to have betrayed all the characters, especially fucking Sauron, who's supposed to be, either the devil or the son of or the Antichrist. Yeah? He's supposed to be one of those two people. And then all the demons now, they're all fine. They have little orc families with thingies.
The character that Sauron is currently inhabiting exists. Right, he did become, or he did materialize as an elf at one point, and actually he is directly involved in the downfall of Numenor. But now what we're seeing is woman replaced by nasty man, and we're seeing lots of that at the moment. Even though the woman was, it's just bad. It's a bad show because, again, they're more obsessed about ticking fucking boxes than they are writing a good show. And they've
yeah,
got incompetent idiots involved that really, are failing upwards. They can't write for shit and they can't direct. Objectively, this is a bad show. It's badly acted. I mean, take me being a Tolkien fan away. Look at it objectively. It's shit.
So, from what I've seen of it, is one that they don't seem to understand that you get certain types of people in certain areas. So, for example, Northern tend to be slightly pale-skinned. Southern tend to be slightly darker-skinned. But because they have all the skin types and all the varieties and stuff like that, it never gives you a feel that you're in one place versus another. Yeah, does that? And fantasy is the worst thing to push diversity in. Yeah, science fiction works better. Yeah, fantasy, terrible, because people have an understanding that most fantasies that you come across are European fantasies involving European people. There is a way round it, and the way round it is you say there's a southern continent, and then you can include those people there, and then you can say there's an eastern continent to include other people there, and presto, and you can put other people in between, and it works. But no, we can't.
You see, having Numenor as multicultural doesn't work. And there were men that were of dark skin, but they're not going to do that because most of the dark skinned men fought on the side of Sauron, right? And they're not going to do that because you can't do that in with modern audience that doesn't exist. But you're right. Numenor, one of the problems is that Numenor is this multicultural thing, and it's not. It's not.
It's supposed to be like...
There's an argument that you could do it with the elves, right? Because the elves
been around, they travel.
Yeah, there is an argument. The minor fallout of the casting of the guy that plays the black elf in it. That was overhyped. Because certain, people latched onto it. That doesn't bother me, right, that much. Because, again, it's kind of understandable. Dark-skinned dwarfs bothers me, especially, in Durin's kingdom. And it's not because of a racist thing. It's because, as you said, look at, certain parts of the world. Look at certain parts of the world in those times. It's stupid. It's rewriting here. Where you should cast the right people for the role. Don't cast based on politics. Cast what is right. If you are doing a group of people based on like a Norse group, they're going to be predominantly white, right? So in this particular type of show.
Can I just check? The Numenorians were supposed to be like 7 foot tall mega men who lived fucking ridiculous lengths of time.
Numenorians were strong seafaring people that were what the Gondorians kind of came from. So like that Gondor, what was descended from Numenor. That's why when you look at the Numenor you see in the first season, there are elements that look a bit like Gondor, and that was cool to see. So the people that are in Gondor are the direct descendants of Numenorians, whereas the Rohirrim are not. The Rohirrim come from are based on a Norse group of people. But the people of Gondor, the kingdom of Gondor, the tree and everything, it's all directly connected to Numenor. And of course, Aragorn was one of the last surviving of the Numenorian bloodline. He was already nearly 100 when we saw him.
So he's 70.
Yeah, 80 odd, I think. But he's quite old in this. And
yeah, but again, it's fantasy's the worst thing that you can do. As I said, if you do like, for example, space travel in sci-fi, it works perfectly for that. It really does, because it's like, hey, you've got starbase, anyone can get to the starbase. Look, here's an example of everyone getting to the starbase. The Belters in what do you call it? The Expanse, great example of that. Doesn't work in fantasy.
It depends what type of fantasy you're doing, I think. When you are doing a fantasy based upon recognizable places, which is what Middle-earth is, right, then you're right, it doesn't work. You can do like colorblind casting. I mean, there's the my wife likes watching that thing on Netflix. What is it? I know it has
The
Queen
thing
Charlotte.
with the thing and the person.
No, it's the it's loads of shagging set in like the George sort of like olden times with
Bridgerton or something.
Bridgerton, that's it, right? Bridgerton, right? And that works, right? Because although it's historic, it's not. It's kind of like a make believe thing, and you can do colorblind casting in that, and it as long as you do colorblind casting and then don't start bringing race into it, it works. Right, and in certain fantasies, depending on the genre, you could do it, but in Tolkien, no, because they are based upon peoples that exist in history. His inspiration came from history, right? You know, the hobbits, they're kind of people from Devon and Exeter and, you know, Cornwall.
I thought that they were Gloucestershire.
Well, they can't, you know, they've got like farmers. Why, that be right? We're an hobbit.
But they're farmers in Gloucester.
Yeah,
Gloucestershire, Lancashire,
accent.
Yorkshire,
That's a definite.
shire.
Nah, not the Northerners. No. Nothing's based on Northern. I got Northern blood. I can say that.
I've not got Northern blood, Keith. Unless you've had a transfusion.
I've got Northern blood. Half my bloody family's from Manchester. You can trace it.
No, you don't. Hang on a second. No. You don't get to say that because you're like kind of, I'm from the Isle of Man. Now I'm from Manchester. Go.
No, what? Look, my mother's side of the family is from Manchester, so I have Mancunian blood. Oasis forever. I'm joking now. And my great grandfather played for Newton Heath. So, bleh. Who were Newton Heath, Gareth? Testing your football knowledge. Who did Newton Heath
I don't know football. I don't do football. You know I don't do football.
I've
just got a load of Liverpool.
Yeah, you're a Liverpool
things.
supporter. Yeah, that's probably sums it up. That's why you don't know anything about football. Oh, boom! Newton Heath became Manchester United for the football people out there.
I knew that. I knew that because of the way you were fucking going on about it, but I didn't want to say.
Anyway, going back to this. Look, no, you're right though about this, and it does take it away from it. And there's another story that we're going to be reflecting on this again in a minute. So should we just get through the stories?
Beautiful. Hang on a second. Let's have one of these. Still can't see it.
Trust that one to work.
Oh, that one worked. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Exciting news for Harry Potter fans as HBO has officially opened the casting call for its much-anticipated TV series adaptation of J.K. Rowling's magical world. The cast search is now underway for iconic roles such as Harry, Ron, Hermione, while the focus will be on inclusivity and diverse cast. This series aims to explore the magical journey of the trio over 7 seasons, with each season adapting one of the books. Production is set to begin in 2025, and fans are eager to see how this new Harry Potter will unfold. Now, if they just cast this like they did for the films, they're going to print money. If not, because everyone's looking at Hermione for being the one that's going to get race swapped. We're all looking at it going, who's getting race swapped, yeah? Most people say Hermione because of the...
They can't get away with Ron. You can't...
Right, hang on a second. No.
Harry, yeah.
No. If you know anything about gingers, who are the first to fall?
Yeah, but hang on, right? The Weasleys' characteristic is their ginger hair, right? It's literally the connecting fucking thing in the book, right? It's like you can't suddenly change the Weasleys to all be a family from Bangalore. It can't happen. The Weasleys are ginger.
Nigeria.
I was just using that as a point. You know,
someone's been on the phone to IT.
Would you fuck off with this fucking bullshit, right? Ron, and the Weasleys, they're all ginger and white. Harry, white, dark hair, right? Hermione, I'm sorry. I know that she was, cast as a black person in the play. I get it. But J.K. Rowling, who come out and said, I never described Hermione. Yes, you fucking did, because you signed off on all of the goddamn illustrations in the original printings of the books and the covers. So yes, you fucking did, right? And no offense, show me a black person with great big bushy hair. Doesn't exist, right? And that's not a racist comment. It's just a fact. Right, so you did. You intended her to be white. Right, actually, personally, I don't have that much of a problem recasting Hermione, but if they fucking well change Ron, I'll be pissed.
Right, so my issue with them recasting Hermione is, one is the mudblood part. That's going to go down fucking differently and worse, yeah? That's all we want. Modern day politics squeezed into Harry Potter inadvertently. That, the other thing. And then the one after that is Spew, which was cut from the films. Yeah, and we're probably going to get fucking Winky was one of the characters I'm glad I didn't include. But you'll get Spew, which is our Society for Protection of House...
something like that. Your wife,
yeah.
Yeah.
Welfare. So we've got that, yeah, and given the fact that everyone in the books, if you stick to the books, they laugh at her for that. That then looks really bad too, doesn't it?
The thing is, right, the cast is already, I mean, it depends on what you look at it, right? The cast is predominantly white in the books. I mean, I think, Seamus is obviously Irish. You've got the Pavati twins, who are clearly Indian, but it kind of reflects.
Dean Thomas.
Dean Thomas was black in the films. I'm not sure in the books, because I don't think there was ever any description of him. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. Who's the other one?
Who's
the Lee Jordan?
Well, again, I don't think he was ever fully described. Although Lee Jordan, the name kind of. Yeah.
In the books, Lavender Brown.
Yeah.
But that's one example of the casting going the other way for the first time in ages.
Here's the thing. I was sitting there thinking about this, right? When we were thinking, because Harry is the same age as you and me, right? Harry is around about the same age as me. So I look at my school, right? Because 1991, right? I look at my middle school. My class had one guy from India, right? Had a Korean girl, and one black guy, right? And that was in a school in Surrey, right? Which is where Harry's from, I might point out. Harry goes to a school in Scotland, so arguably it's a single magical school for the whole of England. So arguably it will have a few more people of diverse backgrounds, but again, the magical world is slightly different. And if you look at the history of England, right, in real history, a lot of immigration was due after the war, which the magical world wouldn't have been involved in. So actually, when you look at what the books say, Dean Thomas, no problem, Lee Jordan, no problem, that would be about reflective of England in the late 80s and early 90s.
I'd just like to point out, England isn't as diverse as things make out according to the census.
I know.
And they always do this, and it's like 90% white. Just saying.
I think, you've got the Pavati twins in there. You've got Dean Thomas. So arguably they are not the central three, right? But they're gonna race swap teachers.
You've got Cho Chang, Kingsley Shacklebolt. What other ones I got in there?
Yeah, Kingsley was actually described as
he was annoying because I really liked him, but I didn't get enough screen time with him in the films. The actor they got was quite a good actor. So yeah, because he kind of felt like he really felt like a good guy, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I saw
along with like Blueprint.
You're right. I saw this story and I just went, we're fucked. They're going to fuck this out the gate. The thing is, right, this modern audience bullshit, you know, they do this. They race swap people. They're going to have a freaking revolt on their hands because people want to see the characters that they pictured in the book.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't go around race swapping people. You can't. Hermione is white. That's how she's described in the book. She's literally described that, despite what J.K. Rowling said. Right?
Yeah.
Look, Dean Thomas, Lee Jordan, great, go for it. Right? But you can't do it with the teachers. You can't.
Because Lee Jordan's quite important with the radio broadcasts in the last book.
Yes.
Because he's the one doing the radio broadcasts in the last book. And they miss out a moment of comedy gold where Lee Jordan's left and Luna Lovegood is doing the Quidditch commentary and she's shit. And it's hilarious. Everyone fucking hates her for it. But she's like, oh, look, Harry's got the ball. I remember the time. And she's just... If it gets hit with a diversity stick, we are in trouble. I think
part of me says they're putting that and they're going to cast the kids anyway. They're just using it to cover their asses. You know, the thing is, right, they're treading the line because of all the crap around J.K. Rowling. But I don't know why they're so scared. I don't know why these people don't just come off and go, fuck off. Because, you know, these people don't have that larger voices. Look at all the uproar about Hogwarts Legacy. Oh, don't buy this game. There's going to be a huge boycott of it. And everybody was scared. And it was one of the most popular fucking selling games of the year. Right? It's bullshit. These people are very, very loud on the internet, but no one's listening to them. And they are a minority. And they don't buy your
product. They do not buy your product and they do not engage with you.
Yeah, they don't exist. It is a group of very sad, lonely people that have nothing better to do than bleep on the internet. They are the modern freaking people that were... There's a film about one that wrote Poison Letters. That's the type of people they are, right? Back then, there was no internet, so they didn't get the coverage that they get these days. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Do you think by casting, right... normal, you know, white people in the role of these three roles, because that's who the characters are. You know, do you think no one's going to watch because a couple of people are going to bitch about it on the internet? It's Harry fucking Potter. It's literally a license to print money.
Only topped by Star Wars. That's how big Harry Potter is.
It's bigger than
if they
Star
get this
Wars.
right,
Star Wars fucked. Right now Harry Potter is bigger than Star Wars. It's more popular than Star Wars. I hate to say it, but it's the truth, right? It can only go downhill from here, right? What are these fucking people scared of? These people living in their Californian bubble. What are you scared of? You literally, right? And you shouldn't do this, right? But everybody could be in white, and they're still going to watch it in their millions. This will be, as long as you don't fuck it up, the biggest TV series in the world, and it will take some fucking beating. Everybody is going to watch this. Or you can only go downhill, and this diverse casting is already ringing alarm bells. And if they destroy this, I am telling you right now, in that 20 years' time, history is going to look on at you, and you're going to be called morons.
Can I just point out the following? It's the one property they haven't been able to destroy yet. And on that really positive note, let's move on to our next story. There.
I'm going in. Cover me, Porkins.
I'm right with you, Red 3. Got a problem here.
Eject!
I can hold it.
Pull up!
No, I'm all right.
How is it? Only the ones that are insulting me are working. Fuck you.
Okay. Oh, crap. Hang on, I'm behind my notes. So, in recent news, the Spider-Verse producer Christopher Miller has denied rumours that most of the upcoming third film, Beyond the Spider-Verse, has been scrapped by Sony. The report, originally shared in the Inschneid, whatever the hell that is, claimed that a significant portion of the film was discarded, delaying its release until after 2027. However, Miller responded on social media, assuring fans that the reels are coming along nicely. He debunked and debunking these claims. The following reports about demanding work conditions on the franchise across 2027.
I don't believe
The kids would have watched the first one, have grown up by then. They'll be into sex,
I
drugs,
mean,
and rock and
I was
roll.
wondering where the sequel is, because I thought they made them back to back, but clearly they hadn't. I know that, some people were blaming the strike as delaying it. I thought they made these films back to back. I enjoyed the second one. I was looking, I saw it in there and I was just like, what the fuck? I hadn't actually heard of any of this. But, Miller's got to be used to having these scripts kind of, scrapped. Solo.
Yeah.
Hashtag solo, mate. Lost money. But yeah, if it really isn't going to be released for another 3 years, that's criminal. But I don't believe it. I think we'll see it next year.
So I found it weird because I felt that Into the Spider-Verse, or that second one, shouldn't have been Miles Morales. It should have been around Gwen Stacy, because they practically set it up to be around Gwen Stacy. It should have been Across the Spider-Verse Gwen Stacy, because he felt like because he was a male character, got shuffled backwards, because that's what they do. And I do like him as a character. The downside is I did get very pissed off with the portrayal of the Peter Parker Spider-Man in it. This is Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's a proper hero. Yeah? And I didn't like that with the whole...
The first one gets killed off. Arguably, Father Peter is a different character, and he is heroic in his own way. I mean, he makes me... But I do get there's no straightforward heroic Peter Parker character. There isn't.
Yeah, which is annoying. So you've got one thing, he's bringing his kid along for it, irresponsible parenting, and then you've got the pregnant Spider-Woman, irresponsible parenting again. Yeah, your job is to be heroic, and that means protecting the weak. And if that means, you leave them behind and keeping them away from gunfire, then that's what you do. But hey,
there was some more Hollywood Californian politics in the second one. It felt like it. But I do quite like the character of Spider-Gwen. I thought Spider-Gwen's quite a good character, but she's the two complement each other, and it works as a team. The two characters of Miles and Spider-Gwen complement each other, and that works. Neither one is better than the other one. And yes, there's a little bit at the beginning of the film where it kind of implies surprise woman is better, but actually towards the end of the film it doesn't feel like that.
It turns into Miles Morales actually gets to be a hero, which I want, because
but I like Spider-Gwen. There's nothing wrong with Gwen being a hero, right? But it's when it's done when it's done for the wrong reasons. That's my point. But I quite like I liked the second film. Didn't like it as much as the first one, but I liked the second film. I liked the character of Miles Morales. I know what you said, and we've debated this in the past, but I've kind of liked Miles Morales. I like his character. I like his character in the game as well. And again, I know what you're saying about it, but I like the character. It is a character I like, and it's difficult because I hate it when it's done for the wrong reasons, but I like the character of Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I always have.
Yeah, but as I said, using to supplant Spider-Man stupid and its second-hand title, and that's not good. It should have his own fucking thing. We've had this conversation before, where it's like he's good enough to have his own thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
and on that we totally agree. And sometimes he's used for the wrong reasons, which pisses me off. There's nothing wrong with having Peter Parker, and there's nothing wrong with having Miles. Just stop using them against each other, because they complement each other so bloody well. You know,
So-
and that's the thing that the first game gets right, that the second Spider-Man game, because it, you know, delved into the Sweet Baby Ink bullshit that it lost. You know, you couldn't have a white guy being the mentor to a black guy. You just can't have it. Why the fuck not? You know, I don't have a problem with it being the other way around either. Let's get on with each other. For fuck's sake. These people and their stupid politics don't realise they're dividing the world, not fucking joining it. You morons. Sorry. Anyway, enough politics.
They talk about inclusivity. It's like kind of, hey, how do you like Republicans? That always makes me laugh. We're inclusive. How about Republicans? No, they're evil. It's like kind of, it's like when they find a black Republican, it's like kind of all of a sudden that person doesn't exist. It's just like, you disgust me. Oh, go away.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it'll be a mistake if it's not going to come out till 2027, but I don't believe that. I think
if it comes out 2027, if they come out 2027, no one's going to give a fuck. No. They were impacted by the strike. Apparently, 100 artists left. The thing. So it's quite arty-farty in its like presentation. But it comes back to when we were talking about special effects. And how the the Marvel films aren't very good because they don't give them enough time to do it. Unlike someone like Denis Villeneuve, who gives them time to do it and lots of notes. Even bloody Ridley Scott, and he's great. Apparently, Ridley Scott is one of the best directors for notes because he draws out all his storyboards, exactly what he wants, and says da da da, and he puts all the notes down. And because of that, everyone likes working with him from like a production point, which is good. It's annoying because my biggest gripe with that last film was the end.
Yes.
Yeah, my biggest gripe was with the end. You could have done something more with it.
I think they had a lot of people are saying, if you read the article, there's a lot of people in there denying that it was all chucked out. I don't think it's true. I do think it was affected by the strike. I think it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of artists did leave because they had to go and find other work. They couldn't stick around and wait while these idiots strike. And again, I love movies. I'm a huge cinema buff, but I can't help thinking that Hollywood needs to implode. It does. We need a phoenix. We need something new to rise from the ashes, because now it doesn't work.
Yeah, whatever they're doing, it's not happening. Let me bring the music in. Do you know what the music means, Keith?
I think it's time to read some comments.
It is. So let's bring the comments up. I have not been paying attention. I apologise.
Biffa's first one was first.
I'll go downstairs and commiserate the missus that she didn't get here first. Well done. I started watching that thing on Netflix. I fell asleep. I'm going to carry on watching it when I get a chance. All right. Number 2. Hello, Steve. Why did you do that to yourself? Seriously.
His name's Biffa the Hobbit.
No, it's not Bifford. I beat myself up to Hobbit. I'm gonna email you the Samaritan hotline for New York or whatever state you live in, just to make sure that your mental health is fine, because that's terrible. I am deeply concerned for your mental health.
Do you need to talk to somebody? Go to our sponsors, BetterHelp.
So, I like this. I'd be happy living past 2025. Do you know something? Coming apocalypse? 2030, mate. It's 2030, so when everything's going to go to cack. Bastello Maserati. Is that how you say it? I don't know. But Tess, hello.
Yes, he said, Bastello Maserati. That's how it is.
Okay, all right. Keep your hands up. Yeah, I looked this up. They don't look identical, but you can tell they're related. They're little kind of like jawlines, but they are they're very, very close to looking the same. Apart from James Earl Jones got much wider cheekbones and jawline. Oh,
Yeah,
that's one.
Yeah, Gene Hackman is in that as well. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, that's if we do our what do you call it? Our thrillers. Yeah, we can do that. You're late, woman. You're late.
You're a braver man than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's terrible. But hi, Chuck. And then we've got hi, Laurie. I vote we can use anyone's likeness that doesn't defame or misrepresent them, or they cannot make money using the actors' likenesses. See, I'm more worried that I always have this dream, yeah, that maybe I'm a time traveler and I fall asleep and I wake up and I find out I've been advertising really shit noodles for the last 100 years and I don't get a penny of it. But everyone knows me and I'm famous. But that's one of my own existential nightmares, which I don't want to share with you guys. I watched Beetlejuice. We could talk about that. I didn't put that in the notes. I forgot I watched that. I'm thinking, what have I watched this week? Inception. I'm not sure what to say about the Beetlejuice movie. Oh, I've got some comments. Everyone's saying hello. Oh, the video didn't come through.
No, so the first ones are blacked out, but I think it has something to do with the browser. We can deal with it like lately. So she's saying no, but I'd just like to point out. Yep. See, they are evil.
Are there on cucumbers? Cucumbers are fine.
Of bloody Satan.
Gnocchi is the spawn of Satan. It didn't exist, and then it did exist, and all it does is it sits on the plate and sucks up all the moisture out of everything.
Gnocchi's potato pasta done right. It's lovely. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, choice words there from Chuck.
Well, Chuck thinks Beetlejuice was fun.
I thought it was fun too. It entertained me, but I'll talk about that when we get more to the thing. And then we've got 5 likes. Yeah, if you could give us a like, that'd be great. And sorry, Laurie's talking to Tanith there. It's never easy doing a sequel to anything. The magic is always in the original movie. It always has the introduction of new characters and chemistry, which is rare. And not lost in the sequel. I will argue Top Gun Maverick.
Empire Strikes Back.
Aliens. Terminator 2.
Yeah. There are cases. There are cases.
Tim, just hang on. The new Beetlejuice series comes up with some clear uses of drones. Yeah, it probably does, Truck. Most of them cheaper than flying a helicopter around. Yeah. My science fiction... When you say SFX, I'm talking about, you mean science fiction film?
No, he's talking about...
Or do you mean special effects?
You mean special effects? It's that he posted that when we were talking about special effects.
Just being absolutely 100%
then I made my
sure.
northern comment. Oh, God. I'm going to piss Pete. Yeah, that's why the shit.
Did you hear about the time... it was on one of our factoids where I put the time that the BBC claimed that North Yorkshire had nuclear weapons.
Oh, I do remember that one. That was funny. That was a funny one. Oh, yeah. Tannis didn't want us to talk about football. Well, you wait, because I might talk about the Grand Tour, and then it's going to turn into a freaking Motorhead show.
Well, you have to be careful, because I haven't watched that. I'm not going to
spoil it. I won't spoil it. Yeah. Do we want to... No, I'm going to skip that comment, because I don't want to talk about politics.
What's that one?
But first. And then we've got the comments repeating themselves.
Why is it doing that?
Yeah. Don't know.
Oh, well. Oh, hang on. See, look, there you go. Look, what happened to factoids anyway? Keith happened to factoids.
No, he didn't. I keep saying we should do it. I'm up for it.
Then we'll do one.
Yes. I'm up for it again. I've just got to use my googling powers.
It was quite hard to do. I had to buy books. So let's bring the music down. Let's start talking about our reviews and stuff.
I know you
So,
haven't.
I haven't watched.
Grand Tour. I'm not going to ruin it for you because I want to reminisce slightly. I'll let you watch it. I will say I had never realised quite how beautiful Zimbabwe is. And the one thing that these shows always did is, I mean, you want to watch a program that knows how to use drones, Chuck, watch the Grand Tour and Top Gear, because they were using drones before anyone. And the drone photography that they have, the drone pilots that they have in the Grand Tour cast are just phenomenal. And there's a photo at the end of the Grand Tour that where they show Hammond and May and Clarkson looking over the drone pilot's thing, looking at the shots that he was capturing. But I'm sad that the show's gone. But I started rewatching some of them, and I'd forgotten quite how good the Mongolian special was. Do you remember the Mongolian special where they got dropped off in the middle of Mongolia and had to literally build a fucking car? Right,
That's one with Jeff.
John was the name of the car.
John. All right.
The car that hops. I rewatched that last night, and actually, I think that's one of my favourites now. I mean, Jesus, Mongolia, wow. I mean, this is the thing. It wasn't just a car show. It was a travel show as well. And I think, it's funny now how all these effing journalists are coming out going, oh, yeah, well, it's outdated. I'm glad they're giving up. It's a thing of this. Fuck off. Who are these people? Who are these people? Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, they're going to come back. They are going to do a reunion 5 years from now. Might not be to the level, but they'll do something, because that they will go away from this and they will look back at it going, that was fun. That really was fun.
I have to admit that the one thing I miss them doing the movies where they were doing more sort of reviews on cars. And Clarkson has sort of said, look, he's lost the passion for it. And I can understand why with all the electric cars. But you know what? No one else did the reviews like they did. And, I am a bit of a petrol head. I drive the same car as as Richard Hammond. Just want to point that out. Richard Hammond owns and drives the same car as I do. Yeah. He does. He's got the same bloody Ranger as me. He's got the same Ranger. 3.
Oh, he's not.
Look.
His one's
I
cooler
drive around
automatically.
in a pickup truck, but I'd just like to point out 3.2 V8. I just want to fucking point that out.
Do you want to hear something funny? I've got a company car, and they're going to force me to have an electric car the next time mine comes around. I'm thinking about cancelling my company car and buying a fucking Aston Martin. Second hand, not a brand new one like from the early 2000s, just because I could turn up with a big Kilf engine, just rev it in the car park like a dick.
I'm not a particular fan of Teslas, but in ludicrous mode they can be quite fun.
It's they're the only electric car that I consider. Audi's not quite there yet. I don't think Tesla's quite there yet.
You see, my wife always accuses me of not knowing anything about cars. It's like, because I drive a 3.2 litre and it's fun, but I've had it for 7 years. We did something when we were on holiday recently, and I picked it. And now she realises that maybe I know a little bit more. You know what the aerial atom is, right?
Yeah.
You know what the aerial atom is, right? So in Thailand, they've got these buggies, and they're not quite on the fucking par with aerial atoms, but they have got like 900cc engines in them, right? And they are fucking quick, and they can go uphill quite fun. and we basically took a buggy out, and they said, right, they handed me the keys and go, that's the track. You got 2 laps. I did it in under 5 minutes. My wife was sitting there going, because I'm trashing this fucking thing around. And, I loved it. And they looked at me and went, go on, have another one. Because I did it so quickly. They're looking at me. Oh, man. I'm going to miss the Grand Tour. The specials I wasn't as big a fan of as the Grand Tour program. I used to like the films. Like, they did films that were funny, but informative as well. I remember one from season 3 where May had got the BMW i3 and Clarkson had a Golf GTI, which is a car I've always wanted to own. And their argument was which one is better, and it is the fucking GTI, just hands down. It's a better car. And I think we're going to miss that. And all these people that are saying these people are outdated, no, they're not. They're just 3 blokes dicking around in cars, and we're allowed to have that because men like to dick around in cars. But
Right,
anyway,
so-
you should watch it. It was good.
Yeah,
It
I was
was
just having a
good.
look, and it's I could get an Aston Martin DB7 5.9 litres for 19,950 quid.
You could get
You're all driving electric cars.
you could get what is technically a Bentley Continental for under 5. The VW that came out because Clarkson featured it, and it's now worth about £5,000. Which was actually a Bentley Continental.
Okay, all right, well, let's talk about. Can I quick? Do you want to talk about Beetlejuice?
Well, you've seen it. I haven't seen it yet. Laurie's comment about it being a bit strange. Well, look at who directed it. Would be my.
So-
I thought the first one
so-
was a bit weird, but
Yeah, so it's done by Goff and Miller, who were responsible for Smallville, and it feels really fucking Smallville in places. The Jenna Ortega storyline feels really Smallville. It's so weird because I'm watching it. It's like, this bit here feels familiar. It's good. Monica Bellucci's character didn't quite work for me in it. So she's supposed to be Beetlejuice's wife. She's a soul-sucking vampire creature thing. And I get her being there for the end and the setup for the end, but you could have hidden her and then had her being revealed right at the end. It would have been a bit more impactful. Willem Dafoe as the head of the undead police. It's pretty funny considering he's like an actor. So he keeps rehearsing his lines and bits in place, which is good.
because I've heard that Michael Keating isn't in it. That Beetlejuice is
Yeah,
not in it that
that's
much.
that's the point that I was just about to make. He's not in it as much as I want him to be in it, if it makes any sense. And yeah, and clearly they removed Jeffrey What's-His-Mush because he was a PDF file from it. Who
Who?
played the dad in the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a PDF file. So yeah, it's they could have been more Michael Keaton. When Michael Keaton was in it, it was good, especially with his staff of shrunken head people, and he gets one of them to dress up like him so he doesn't get killed, and then he gets killed, and then at the end in the titles there's a little tribute to Bob, who's the guy who gets killed, which I thought was quite amusing. And then they kind of went into the other thing too. They went into where Beetlejuice came from, and I always like to think that it was like some weird ethereal demon thing that just popped up because chaos sort of thing. But he had like a backstory. Not too keen on that. But Jenna Ortega really good in it. Her would-be boyfriend in it I thought was quite good. Probably needed a bit more screen time. The cameo from Danny DeVito at the beginning was quite entertaining. Cameo
know
from
about
Danny DeVito. Yeah,
Ah,
so yeah, you
awesome.
got that. The mum, I think it's her stepmom, the crazy artist lady. She's quite entertaining. The one person I didn't like character-wise was I can't remember the character. Winona Ryder's husband or would-be husband. Um, didn't something was just not, didn't quite work because he felt like he should have been. If you watch Adam's Family Values, and you have John Cusack's sister. I can't remember her name. I don't know if it's Sissy or something along those lines.
Yeah. I know who you mean.
Has
She was
her
the
in there,
head
and
mistress
she
in School of Rock.
anyway, she what do you call it? She tries to marry Uncle Fester and then kill him off to get the inheritance. Blah blah blah. And she's a complete psychopath. And the worst thing is that the family accept her for that. And that's what needed to happen there. Joan Cusack, thank you very much, Biffa. So yeah, so I liked that character. So the lack of Michael Keaton's probably my biggest criticism of it. It was a good film. I walked out and I felt very satisfied, if you know what I mean. Very satisfied. But again, I wasn't the biggest Beetlejuice fan to start with, but it was an interesting film to watch. So yeah. Are we going to talk about Inception?
I'm just going to reply to this about the Aston Martin because your wife said you're not buying an Aston Martin. I'm famous for liking Aston Martins. But do you know what I really, really want? And again, I have to agree with Hammond here. I want a Morgan. I want a Morgan. I'm lucky I've driven a Morgan, and they are just fun. We need to talk about slow horses before we talk about Inception.
Okay. So
because I've got some theories.
you read the books?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Now, not very good books. Sorry. It's a bit like the Dexter books. They're a bit
I couldn't
flowery with
get
the
into
language.
the audiobook, partly because who the guy was thinking. So I don't know much about this one. In fact, I don't know anything about this one. The only thing I know is that, and I'm not going to spoil it. There's one thing I know about it, but it's just to do with one particular character, Claude, the new head. But I won't say anything more. What I will say is I think someone's going to die, and I think I know who it's going to be. I think the beginning was a red herring, a double red herring in the fact that somebody is going to die. And I think the second episode revealed that. Shall I tell you, or shall we wait?
Well, no, talk and then put it towards the end. So, the first things first. The new lady who's replaced Standish in the office, who kind of reminds me of Dolores Umbridge a bit.
Yes.
She's connected.
Yeah. She's
connected to the whole story.
But Lamb's got the measure of her already. I mean, that's why he took her out. Lamb has got her pegged.
Oh, Lamb's brilliant. The second person that they're trying to kill is going to be Jackson Lamb. So they want Cartwright Senior and Jackson Lamb. The thing is that he's going to outfox them and make them look stupid because that's his character, and I love that about that. That's brilliant. But I haven't seen much of Hugo Weaving. It was literally he heard his voice and then he was running around that building setting fires and bits.
Is playing somebody significant. You see, here's the thing, right? I think there's a connection to Cartwright here and Cartwright Senior, right? And I'm just wondering if it's a family thing because there was a couple of lines in there and the old house that implied it could be a family thing, although his parents are meant to be dead, so I don't know. But I think it's a family thing. The new guy's interesting. I don't know what we're going to get out of the new guy. I still like what's his face, the horrible. I keep forgetting his name. The horrible computer guy. Who's just such a wonderful Ho. I love Ho. I think he's such a
Ho. The actor who plays Ho, because he's done his training and he's got his received pronunciation, sounds so fucking posh. So posh for that character.
But the scratch and sniff, which I fucking love from the first scratch and sniff, I love that.
That's great. That's
just one of the greatest lines. I think Scratch, because he kind of said, it's obvious he's gambling again and he's carrying a gun. right? And the gun, I think he's the one that's going to die.
Okay.
I just got a feeling because they showed the gun and everything, and I thought that was significant. And he's gambling again, and he's blatantly going to do something fucking stupid.
I don't think he's going to get killed. I think he's going to be properly sacked for doing that.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the case.
Does he?
No. They did. They've sacked one. They sacked the Scottish guy in the first season.
That's true.
So I think he's going to get the heave ho.
I think Standish is going to come back. I mean, again, Standish is just old school. It's like, I love that scene. It's like Lamb just looks at you go, what's it all about? She's like, I don't know. It's like, he goes, what's it all about? She goes, well, okay, I checked it. He's like, I love that. Like, for all his...
She's got... Yeah.
There's a respect there, and I love it. I mean, for all his crap, and there's a lot of crap, Lamb's not stupid. And I think that's why I like it. His character is so interesting. I don't know where this is going, and I need more Hugo Weaving, but I really don't know where this one is going. It's got to be something family-ish, or there's some kind of connection between the two.
Right. It's Cold War, because they turned around and said the idea was someone that they created in the Cold War, and Cartwright Senior was in charge. Yeah, of the Cold War bits, and Lamb's identity or legend or whatever, because what he had during the Cold War when he got caught by the KGB and whatnot, it's got him too involved with it. So Standish might be involved in it too, but I think it's those older people.
But they also
early to mid 80s.
When you were listening to him on the phone and he knew it was the Cartwright Jr., it's like, well, we've got to kill him too. It was something I'm paraphrasing as to what he said because I can't quite remember. But I remember going, well, hang on a second, they are targeting him as well. So it's like, why are they targeting him? That's why I'm getting the kind of family connection from. But they're targeting both of them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go after Lamb as well. But, God forbid if they do. But I love all the bits with Diane. It's like, I love how she gets him gets Claude on the fucking bus, and then she just fucking comes out, Well, it's like when she was getting him to sign that paper, it's like, you fucking
You
idiot.
knew.
I mean, I was going to say,
Yeah.
she's setting him up for something here.
But I'm worried that he's cleverer than he appears. I would like... No, hang on, let me rephrase that. I would like for him to be cleverer than he appears, and he's just playing dumb to get her, because they wouldn't have put... I know it's not real, but in perfect world, they wouldn't have put someone that stupid in that position. They'd have put someone very clever in that position. Yeah?
But, I mean, even when she was kind of like the bad guy in the first season, she wasn't. She's doing the job of a good spy, really. I mean, she is a good spy. And regardless of whether you like it or not, covering up the fact that the bombing was connected was probably a good idea, right? You don't want to make that information public, because if you do, it will destroy the security services, which arguably could fuck up the country even worse. This is the problem when politics gets involved in security services. So I kind of agree with what she did in this episode.
Yeah.
And the fact that she had to set him up, and she set him up brilliantly, I might point out. I have a grudging respect for her. I didn't like First Desk, what's her face? I mean, that bitch should have got it in the, But I grudgingly quite like her because she's a crafty cat, and I like her, and I love the way she set him up. It's like the minute she goes, "Can you just sign these?" I was like, "Oh fuck, what's she making him sign?" It's like I knew it was going to come back, and when they met on the bus, and she was like, "Oh come on, like, and you signed it." It was like, "What?" I was like, "Yep, there you go." So I'm loving it. I love it. Although this has been a bit more serious. The first two episodes have been quite dark and serious. There's not a lot of funny. There's some funny, but there's not a lot of funny.
Yeah.
I need a little bit more funny.
Okay, before we go into the next thing, I need to go off and do something private. I'll be back in a moment.
Gareth's going off for a piss. Or wank. Here's the thing, right? He's probably left his headphones on, so he can hear what I'm saying. So when me and Nige used to, when he used to do this before we would go live, Nige and I would be pretend to be certain parts of his. I don't know. Anyway, he's just dumped me in it. So what are we talking about? How's everybody in the comments? Still enjoying the show? Because I've just been dropped in this. We're gonna talk about Inception next. And next week will be Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, anyway, so Inception. Come on, Gareth, how long does it take to go for a piss? He's pretty dropped me in this. I just want to read this out. I'm going to read Chuck's comment. Buzzkill on the Aston Martin. Laurie would never have convinced me not to buy a Corvette. Oh, I think she could have, Chuck. I think she could. So I say get the Aston Martin and beg for forgiveness later. Trouble is, you can probably pick up a DB7 quite cheap now. Actually, DB7s are quite cheap. I mean, it was a DB9s are not expensive. Did you finish?
Yes, I had a big piss.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you get for not having a pee before you start.
Inception.
Oh, anyway. So Inception, yeah. Sorry, you were just talking about Vantage 24, we'll say for 25,000. 2009 petrol, 73,000 miles on the clock. That's not bad considering the age. But then again, it was probably one of those nice cars, not a regular car. Anyway, yes, Inception. So watched Inception, and then I started noticing a few things. So
I know what you noticed.
Yeah, I told you because it was.
No, I know what you noticed because I remember noticing it before. I just want to say before we go into this, right? You know, like taking all the other little cut scenes in between, right? When they're really deep down and they're like Ice Station Zebra kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is Chris Nolan going. That is his interview for a Bond film, and it's just like, hang on a second, Chris Nolan making a Bond film with Tom Hardy as Bond. Why the fuck are they not doing that?
or Cillian Murphy, or fucking anyone.
No, Hardy. Hardy is Bond. Hardy is Bond, but especially with his accent in this movie, and he's doing all the action. Fucking That is literally his interview for a Bond movie. He is making a Bond movie there. I mean, it's screaming Bond.
I always felt it was a massive nod to Modern Warfare 2. Because you've got the ski chase and everything.
Sorry? That's not to Bond and the lair and all the skiing scenes and everything. And you know, a good Bond film always had a skiing scene in it. Like some of the greatest Bond films have got skiing scenes. That's a fucking Bond film. Even the lair and the way it's constructed and everything, and like, you know, all the evil henchmen in white. It's a fucking Bond film. Why the hell is Chris Nolan not making the next Bond film with Tom Hardy? There you go, money. It's a license to print it.
I'll be honest with you, I would have got him and Danny Boyle in the same room together and say, look, we're going to do a new Bond film. I want to know what your ideas are. Between the two of them, I reckon something fucking epic. Yeah? Anyway, so a couple of things to note, yeah? Inception was responsible for the in all the fucking TV spots for films 10 years after. And do you know what the is?
Go on.
Do you know what it is?
No.
So it's that song they play, get that one, yeah? It's that slowed down 16 times.
I did not know that.
Did you not know that? That's where that comes from. It's them playing that tune really fucking slowly.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen this film for freaking ages, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it. It's a damn good film.
Do you know what the worst thing is? I think I like it more than Interstellar. Do you know why? I think it's happier.
In that respect, I'll give you that. I think we mentioned
that's my argument for why I like it more.
It's weird seeing Elaine Page so feminine, and she is quite feminine in this film. And by the way, the scene where I know I mentioned this last week, but EA's head building in Chertsey, the stairs. I've walked up those stairs. Although it's a digital effect where you see it cut off, but those stairs are real in the respect that they do go up, and I have been in the exact spot where he was walking. EA's thing, because if you look at it on Google Maps, it's the E from the EA. There you go. That's the shape of the building.
Anyway, going back to the film. So there was one thing that was I don't know if it's pointed out in a YouTube short like months back when it came to Tenet, was that the spinning top that Cobb uses isn't his totem.
No, it's his wife's.
It was his wife's totem, and he clearly says that it's his wife's totem. So when I noticed that, goes, this is not Cobb's totem. I'm like, okay. And I go, which one is? What is his Cobb's totem? And it's Cobb's totem is his wedding ring.
Yeah.
Because when he's in the dream state, the wedding ring appears on his finger, and when he's in the real world, it doesn't appear on his finger. Now, there was one thing that Michael Caine spoiled about the whole thing. He turns around and goes, all the bits that I'm in are the real world. That's what he said. He goes, I spoke to Chris, and he turned around and goes, all my scenes are in the real world. He went, brilliant. So, given that, if you look, he's never wearing a wedding ring around.
He's not wearing the
Michael
wedding
Caine.
ring at the end. So it is a real world, but I always thought it was a real world because the totem does wobble.
So, yeah, because anyway, coming back to it, the other thing too was that I never felt that the whole idea of them doing the whole Inception thing was to actually get that guy to break up his empire, but was actually to get Cobb to get him back to the United States. Yeah? I always felt that it was set up because you start off and Michael Caine looks like he's tutoring in Paris somewhere. Yeah? And then he's back in the US with the kids. And you're like... Because it feels like... And he's like, he introduces him to Ariadne, and he knows pretty much everyone else going on. So it kind of feels like... I always got the impression that he set this up so Cobb could get over his issues and return back, if that makes any sense. So they gave him the idea that he needed to do this, and then all his problems were then solved whilst he was doing this. And it wasn't just like a happy byproduct sort of thing.
You see, I mean, towards the end, you never know whether they actually complete it, because he does say, I'm going to be... Cillian Murphy's character does say, I'm going to be my own man because that's what my dad wanted me to be. But that doesn't implicitly imply he's going to break up the company. He could just leave the company, right? And I always thought it was because Cobb stayed behind and rescued the guy that's why he makes the phone call at the end. He does it not because they completed the mission, because he doesn't know, and Cobb never tells him. It's because Cobb goes and saves him.
I see the other part of that is I really do like the kind of catharsis element that he has with his father.
Yes.
I felt that was great, because it was like, if you wanted to really kind of, it's something that touches you in the feels, yeah, with the idea of a dying relative that may have not been most kind to you, and that you think the last thing you hear from them was that you were a disappointment, to hear that you were never a disappointment and go off and be your own man sort of thing, and knowing that you've got that I really liked. That was something in the, as I said, happier film than Interstellar. That I really liked. The
Music's great.
Music just matched 100%. Hans Zimmer. I know it's not. He did some great synth work in the 80s, but
I think this was the first film that I kind of liked Leonardo DiCaprio in. I mean, I've gone back and watched films, but this was the first one that I kind of liked him in. It's funny how half the bloody cast are in the next Batman film. I love Tom Hardy in this film, and his accent. He should be Bond. I hadn't realised it. Well, I had realised it, and we've probably said this before, but having just watched this again and watching that, I will say it again. Why the fuck are these two not making Bond? I mean, it's just a license to print money. I do not understand. I know why. Because everybody's obsessed with Bond being a woman.
Make your own character, for fuck's sake. Jenna Ortega will play the part.
You could have. I mean, but Tom. I mean, I'd forgotten how much I liked this film. How different it was to anything that Hollywood has done or has done since. Really, this is probably his most unique film in terms of nothing else has really ever been like it. There is nothing else in terms of other films. I mean, you can see inspirations in there. You can see the Bond inspiration. You can see certain elements in the film. But the whole dream sequence, the psychology behind it, and there is some quite deep psychology stuff. And again, because I was watching it and paying attention today, on purpose, the way they talk about Inception and the way they talk about implanting the memory, and again based on basic principles of psychology, I love it. And again, at the end, I will say this: there is this cathartic, thing between Cillian Murphy and his. God bless Pete Postlethwaite. I've forgotten Pete Postlethwaite was in it. I think this was one of his last roles. I think it was one of his last. I like that ending with them. And again, he never actually explicitly says he's going to break up the company. So, and I've forgotten that. There is no, the thing I like about it, I suppose, is that they're not... The things that they set out to do, the only thing that really happens is he gets home. That's the only thing
I think was the goal.
Clearly defined in the entire film. And I'd like to think that he does, that he doesn't know when he makes that phone call to save Cobb, he doesn't know that it's worked. I think he does it because Cobb saves him.
I think he does it because he agreed to it in the first place, and Michael Caine was strong-arming him to make sure it happened.
Well, there is that, but I think you're absolutely right about the ring, and the top. I think the spinning top was his wife's totem,
not his.
Yeah. I mean, and the effects in this film again are great. I mean, even Elaine Page's. Oh, so I say Elliot Page's.
No, it's Elaine Page in this one.
Yeah, Elaine Page's character in this is good. I'd forgotten how much I like this movie. It's better than The Prestige.
Yeah, Prestige was good.
Prestige was good.
The thing is, this is why I went to, because I always like putting happier things. It was one of the reasons that we rejigged a load of stuff, is to have some happier things. And I was happy watching all the Harry Potter films and all the Star Trek films and all the Star Wars films that we went back and watched again, and then watching the Chris Nolan films. The majority of the Chris Nolan films I really like. He does have some weird editing quirks, which I'm a bit not too keen on in places, where he kind of chops things down in bits. But I really like this film. I think I think it might be my favourite Chris Nolan film.
I will give you this, that I think if we're going purely on happy films, it's a happier film than Inception. I love Inception because of the spaciness of it, but you can't say Inception is a happy film. In terms, you could say it's his best film. I think it's a toss up between this and Interstellar in some ways. I love Interstellar, but I if somebody said, "Oh, I like Inception," I'm not going to argue with them. I mean, I will always love Batman Begins because I am a huge Batman fan. And the thing is, I mean, I've just seen Biff's comment. I get why people like The Prestige. I like The Prestige.
Oh,
I think
nothing wrong with that.
I think if you step back and look at it, take out the personal preference, objectively, Inception is objectively, it's probably his best film in terms of direction. There's so many amazing practical effects in this film. Technically, it's a brilliantly put together film.
Oh, yeah,
but
the bit where they're folding the streets over.
Ending wise, story wise, uniqueness. Objectively, it's probably his best film. But I'm not going to disagree with Biffa or you on your choice of your favourite film. I don't know. It's a hard press. I've got to watch Interstellar again. I watched it recently, and I know what you mean by the fact that the Inception's definitely a happier film. It's a more emotional film in some ways, although Michael Caine's rendition of "Don't Step Into the Good Night," I still love that. It's incredibly moving, and I love it. I love Interstellar in terms of the fact that it's just this epic space movie. But objectively, Inception's probably better.
Well, but you got some great musical bits in Interstellar. Special effects, Interstellar, a lot better. Some physics misnomers in there, not good.
Yeah, I mean the scene though in Inception where they're sort of the second layer when they're in the hotel, and because in the first layer the car is spinning, so you see when you realize that is a practical effect, there's no CGI there, that is 100% practical, right? But then you look at the cameraman, right? And I remember, and I've got to go back and watch the making of it. It's like, how the fuck is that cameraman pulling that camera back and doing that while it's spinning around? He's got to be on some kind of track.
Are you talking about the corridor or your lounge?
No, you see, right. The camera is fixed, right? The whole set is spinning, right?
Yeah.
And the actors are moving around with that, right? But at one point, the camera is entirely upside down in gravity terms, and it's moving back like a handheld camera. Right? And I was looking at that going, and this is me being really geeky in cinematography. I'm, the Chuck in me is coming out, and I'm going, how the fuck are they putting that shot with the camera? I know how they're doing the bit with the actors, the practical side of it. I know the set is spinning around. I know that. But I'm looking at going, how the hell are they doing that with the camera? That guy has got to be on a track, right? And they're putting him along a track. It's the only way they've got to be doing that, right? But they're doing that while the damn thing's spinning around, and he's got to be sort of sitting on that thing, nailed into it, right? And he's managing to move that camera as his entire world is spinning. That shot is amazing. I mean, it is an incredible shot. It's more amazing than the one in Contact. And the one in Contact's a pretty fucking incredible shot. Which one am I talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about in Contact?
In Contact, as in Jodie Foster Contact.
Yeah. Do you know the scene that I'm talking about?
I can't remember.
There is a scene in Contact where it's when she's young, and it's where her father dies, and she runs up the stairs and the camera follows her into the mirror. And it's how they did that shot, because again, it's 100% practical. And again, when you're watching that shot, as the whole thing is spinning around, the camera is in a fixed position but moving back like a handheld camera. You're like, it really got me thinking about how they do it. I was sitting there, I watched it 3 or 4 times, going, the only way they can do that is on a track.
You don't have to do it on a track. You just put on an arm, because they do have what would you call it, cameras that have specifically recorded motion sequences for special effects shots. So you can have it on the arm, and the arm just does
but the
it
camera is
precisely, pulling it
actually
back.
spinning around, so it's not on an arm, because the set, you don't see the set moving around, right? The camera, it's such a clever effect. The camera is staying on one edge of the set, right? It's on the floor.
It's going down like that. Yeah.
So it's in the corridor, and it's got to be on a track, and he has got to be attached to that track, because there's no spinning effect. It's all through the way the actors. That's why it's such a surreal shot. It's a really, really clever shot. And when you think about it, I know he loves practical effects, but in this is probably his technically best film.
The other thing too is the folding up when they're in Paris. He starts folding up. She starts folding up the streets before Doctor Strange, and it looked much more. And the way it was done too, and along with the music cues and the whole what the fuck, and you see it, and the shadows change and everything, and it's just really well done. It shows you how to you can shape and adjust reality there. Yeah, it was.
But I'll give you. I'm not going to argue with you and say no, this is not his best film, because I think if you take passion out of it, objectively, it's probably his best film.
It's. I'll be honest with you. It is a toss up between this and Interstellar. Yeah,
and I'm not sure, honestly. Depending on the day, I'm not sure which one is mine, if I'm being honest. I love Interstellar because I love the music. I love everything about it. I think the music is slightly better Interstellar, but I love the music in this as well. And the final piece of music.
I do prefer the ending.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Because in Interstellar, it's like, you've missed your daughter's entire life.
Yeah, but he does go.
Or he gets
out
to go
join
back to his
her.
kids.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, again, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But look, everybody's going to have a different opinion. But I think, and I'm not going to dispute their opinions on this, but I think objectively, certainly technically, it's probably his best. I mean that scene in the I'd forgotten how damn clever it was. And all the psychology in it, which I kind of enjoyed. This is what's
Just
called
like
originality. Hollywood.
Just like point out, Elon Musk's ex-wife is in the bar on the second level.
Yes, she is. Yes.
Tallulah, whatever her mush is.
Yes, you're right. Again, I'd forgotten. I hadn't seen this. This is the one I hadn't seen for quite a long time.
Do you know, out of all the
I
Chris
really
Nolan films,
enjoyed
I've got I'm looking least forward to.
Oppenheimer?
No,
Which one?
Dunkirk. Because it's like having fucking anxiety, that film.
Yeah,
It really
but
is
I
when it
like
kicks off.
Hardy's story in this film.
I know, but it just because he ratchets the tension up and 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 up. He goes much higher than he does with all the others.
Yeah, but I
think Inception's probably the closest he gets for ratcheting tension up to the max. But this one, I felt like I was there at Dunkirk. That's how bad it was.
I think Oppenheimer's the one that I'm least looking forward to having to sit through again. But there are moments in Oppenheimer that are quite good. Robert Downey
But Oppenheimer's a
Jr.'s performance in it
character
is
study,
great.
so
Yeah. But anyway, I think we should put a bow in it. Next week it is Dark Knight Returns.
oh god, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Cue the dodgy. Cue the dodgy. I was born in the darkness. Yes, cue the
There's
dodgy
good and bad
impressions.
bits about that film. There's
Yes.
there are more good bits than bad bits, but there are bad bits in there that don't exist in the other films.
Yep.
And he does
And
the
I'm
stupid
sure
fucking editing stuff too.
I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but yes. Anywho, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and we will be here next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.